Today we are going to talk about a comedy drama film called Garfield from 2004. If you find a frame from another famous movie in the video, write the time code in the comments. It all starts with Garfield. He is a charismatic and very fat red cat. A few years ago, he was adopted by a guy named John. From the first day, they hit it off. The cat doesn't like Mondays the most, so he wakes John up in the morning so that the owner can feed his pet in the kitchen. John gives Garfield liver-flavored canned food, but the cat doesn't like it. While the owner was distracted, Garfield quietly exchanged plates with him. As a result, John got sick from the food, but the cat was satisfied with the excellent breakfast. In general, Garfield's day goes according to the schedule. After a hearty breakfast, he and his friend watch the milkman. Every morning, Garfield invites the cat to play a game at the neighbor's house. After greedily drinking all the milk, Garfield notices an apple pie and decides to have a snack before lunch. A Doberman, Luca, comes out to meet him and tells the cat to get off his property. But Garfield manages to outwit the animal again. Listening to the threats, the cat mockingly steals an apple pie. When Garfield returns home, he sees his owner chasing a mouse. John fails, and then the cat decides to show off his skills. A few minutes later, John sees his cat eating the rodent. It turns out that Garfield didn't eat it because he can't stand the taste of mice. Besides, the cat has known Louis for a long time. The cat gives him some advice, and the mouse remains indebted to him. At home, Garfield climbs into his favorite armchair in front of the TV, where an entertainment show is on. In fact, Happy hates cats, because he suffers from a severe allergy to them. Every day, Happy dreams of finding a talented dog to conquer television. Later, John returns home to find that Garfield has eaten 4 boxes of lasagna. The cat can't stand up from the pleasure. The owner decides to take the cat to the veterinary clinic where his friend Liz works. Garfield guesses that the owner often takes him to the vet because he has been secretly in love with the girl for a long time. At the vet's office, Liz doesn't notice any abnormalities in the cat and sends him for a spa treatment. Left alone, the girl says she has something to ask John. The happy man decides that Liz wants to ask him out, and he is ready to confess his feelings to her. But instead, Liz asks John to take a stray dog named Odie. It seems that John is sincerely happy to have a new dog. Leaving the clinic, a shocked Garfield tries to explain to the owner that a dog has broken into the car. In response, John introduces him to his new friend. With every passing minute, Odie irritates Garfield more and more. But the cat is sure that soon the owner will understand everything and throw the dog out. Garfield tries to ignore people, but the playful dog does the opposite and tries to attract the attention of his new friend. Suddenly, Odie sits down on the cat's favorite chair, and Garfield's patience is over. He wants to teach the dog a lesson and invites him to play a game. At the moment when the cat shows him where to stand, Odie pulls the rope, and the cat falls into his own trap. Angry Garfield chases after Odie, but the evil Luca blocks his path. The cat is horrified to see that the dog has broken free of the chain. The Doberman wants to take revenge on Garfield for the years of abuse, but suddenly Odie comes to the rescue. After a while, the dog was doing a great job around the house, and Garfield decides to organize a dance competition. The dog started to repeat the moves after the cat, and at that moment, John and Liz take the dog with them, leaving Garfield at home. The neighbor's cat thinks that soon Odie will be the only Pete in Joan's house. Garfield decides not to let that happen. He catches up with Lisa's car and somehow jumps into it. It turns out that Joan and Lise have come to a talent show in which only dogs participate. Unfortunately, Garfield finds out about it when he tries to get John's attention. During the long chase of the dogs after the cat, Odie hears a familiar song. He rushes to the stage and starts dancing, delighting everyone around him. The show's host rewards Odie and offers John to make him famous, but the man refuses. Back home, Liz asks John out on a date, and Garfield has the worst day of his life. He believes that his master no longer loves him, and the cat blames the dog for this. In anger, he throws a ball at him, which causes real chaos in the house. Upon entering the house, John sees Garfield in the middle of the mess. As punishment, John makes him spend the night in the yard. Garfield is upset and thinks that John has fallen out of love with him. Odie decides to support his friend and lies down next to him. However, Garfield does not appreciate the dog's kindness and decides to teach him a lesson. He locks the passage for animals, but still, before going to bed, Garfield decides to make peace with the dog the next day. He didn't know that dogs follow their instincts and run away after passing cars. Finding himself in an unfamiliar neighborhood, Odie lies down on the doorstep of an elderly woman who decides to help him. In the morning, Joan notices that Odie has disappeared, but Garfield thinks that the dog will return soon. Meanwhile, Happy complains that he can't find a talented dog to participate in the show. Suddenly, his assistant notices an old woman's ad saying that she has found a dog. They immediately arrive at the address and deceive the gullible woman, taking the dog from her. Meanwhile, John tries to find his dog. Later, Liz shows up for a date that John had completely forgotten about. Having gained courage, the man tells her about the disappearance of the dog. After that, the couple sets out to find him. Staying at home, Garfield feels guilty, but decides to calm himself by watching TV. He sees Happy's show, which introduces Odie as a new contestant. After the show, Happy decides that he doesn't have time to train the dog, so he decides to control his movements with an electric collar. Later, Garfield decides to rescue Odie. After a while, John invites Garfield to dinner, but the cat does not come. Realizing that his cat is also missing, John and Liz go in search of him. Noticing an ad for Odie, they go to the old woman's house. Upon learning that he was taken by the show's host, the couple realizes that Happy has kidnapped Odie, and possibly Garfield. Meanwhile, Garfield finds himself in an empty alley, where he is surrounded by a pack of very hungry rats. The cat is about to say goodbye to his life, but luckily Lewis comes to his rescue. He uses his authority to disperse the rats. After that, Garfield tells him about his problem. Lewis brings the cat to the building where the show is filmed. Garfield decides to climb inside through the ventilation. By a lucky break, the cat finally finds Odie. Garfield sincerely apologizes, saying that their owner needs them. As soon as the cat tries to open the cage, Happy enters the office. He tests an electric collar on Odie and takes him with him on the train to New York. Garfield is furious and then follows them. Unfortunately, he is caught on the street by animal control officers. At the shelter, Garfield realizes that Odie has become a true friend to him. He tells the animals that he is ready to save the dog at any cost. At that moment, a family comes to the shelter to choose a cat for their daughter. The girl chooses a cat, and the cat takes advantage of the situation to help Garfield and the other animals. As soon as the cat pressed the evacuation button, all the animals escape from the shelter. After a while, the couple finds out where Happy is going, and they immediately arrive at the train station. Garfield is immediately found there. Unfortunately, Happy's train has started, but the cat decides to stop it. He sneaks into the control room and randomly presses all the buttons. This leads to the fact that the trains change direction and move towards each other. A second before the collision, Garfield finds the right button, which returns the trains back to their places. The cat frees Odie from the cage, and the friends hug each other. At this point, Happy appears and is about to put a collar on Odie. Garfield stands up for his friend, but to no avail. Suddenly, animals from the shelter and a pack of rats come to his aid. Under Garfield's leadership, they attack Happy, putting a collar on him. Not only do the animals decide to teach the man a lesson, but John knocks him out. As a result, Happy is arrested, and the couple confesses their love to each other. Now the family lives happily together, but Garfield reminds them who is in charge.